Humans, I am your herald of the gods. Look at it. Look at it. Now look at me. And welcome back to the Culture Guys channel with your boy Mike. Look at this. You looking? Okay. Now look at this. See that? Mm-hmm. One more. Look at this one. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Now, I know what you're thinking. Man, those were three incredible clips from three great pieces of DC footage that fall under the DCU umbrella. Well, first of all, you're smoking crack if you saw three great clips. It was only one, and that's from the Penguin. Okay, number one. So put the crack pipe down. Number two, they don't all fall under the DCU. Matter of fact, not one of them falls under the DCU. So let me explain. The DC universe, I call it the DC cinematic universe, even though Marvel already has taken that term cinematic and MCU, Marvel Cinematic Universe. Okay. Anything to me that falls on a screen at all, whether it be gaming, animation, movies, and shit like that, is a cinematic piece of art or entertainment to me. James Gunn, his universe is the DCU. Okay. And I wanted to make this video because I came to a realization not too long ago, a couple of days ago, actually, after watching some interviews and looking at some videos. And I realized that DC is at a crossroads right now where basically history could do one or two things. Either it's going to repeat itself or he's going to make history. So let me repeat that. It's either going to repeat itself or he's going to make history by being the first person to be successful in the DC cinematic world, giving us a succession of consistency that's actually great. Let me throw it back a little bit. About 11 years ago, if you guys don't remember, the DCEU, okay, or the DC Extended Universe kicked off. I want to kind of make a differentiation for those, the uninitiated, that don't really understand what the differences are. Because if you're just I think most passive viewers and people that watch this shit, honestly, don't really give a fuck one way or the other. But I think that for those that are kind of curious and really kind of wonder like, how come the Joker movies don't seem to fall in with any of the Batman movies or anything that's coming out? Is there going to be a Joker 3, this, that, and third? I'm going to explain it to you as briefly as I can because there's a lot. But basically, about 11 years ago, the DCEU, or the DC Extended Universe, kicked off with the Man of Steel, which arguably is the best movie out of all of the movies that came out the years that followed the Man of Steel. Okay, we're talking Batman versus Superman, we're talking Justice League, we're talking Aquaman, we're talking Wonder Woman. Superman was the best one, Man of Steel. All right. After the 11 years of the DCEU, okay, then came the Joker. Well, I'm sorry. Let me go back a little bit here. Before the DCEU actually wrapped up last year, let's keep in mind, this shit started in 2013. It just ended last year with The Flash, which the kid in me loved The Flash. You know what I'm saying? The problem with these movies is as the years went on, there were so many problems with the actors behind the scenes, the writing, shit was getting pushed back. The success at the box office wasn't meeting the expectations. It was so much going on that they couldn't compete with Marvel, and that's kind of what they were going for. They rushed it. However, before The Flash came out, before this was all over with, Warner Brothers decided to drop the Joker movie, which, you know, if you're a DC fan, you've been waiting all your life for a Joker movie. So cool. The Joker comes out. It was, Joaquin Phoenix did his thing. It wasn't really a masterpiece of a movie to me. I thought it was a good movie. It's not a movie I'm never going to go back and watch ever again. Mainly for one reason alone, and that's that motherfucker Todd Phillips. Todd Phillips has been banished from the DC realm forever. Yeah, Todd Phillips better not ever come near a DC project ever again in his fucking life. He had no intentions of the Joker being in whether it's a DC extended universe, DC cinematic universe. He wanted no parts of it. I think he's got some beef with James Gunn because around the time James Gunn was about to take over as the co-CEO, I guess you could say, of DC, of the DC cinematic stuff. And Todd Phillips was not playing ball at all. But then because the Joker 1 went on to such great success, they went on ahead and made Joker 2, but then they made it a musical. It had Lady Gaga, and still he's shitting all over what James Gunn is trying to do in rebooting this DC thing. But I digress. We move on from that shit. We're never going to talk about the Joker ever again. Well, we might. If I got to shit on the Joker 2, then we will. Anyway, so that was 11 years ago when it first kicked off. Gave us a bunch of movies. One more disappointing than the other one as they released. Man of Steel was the best one out of all of them. And I think that basically there's a lot of confusion going on in the world of DC as it stands today. But before I get out here and before I ramble on too long, because I could talk about this shit for another hour, it's worth noting is that the DCEU, you got to remember, I think one of the reasons why it failed is because it was coming off of the Christopher Nolan Batman universe that was critically acclaimed, award-winning, beautifully written movie from the first one all the way through the third one. Even though the last one wasn't as, I guess people don't think it was as great. I thought it was a good movie for real. But here you have this really super grounded Batman, the first really grounded Batman we've seen on screen ever, and it did so well that I think jumping right off from that into the DCEU with the Man of Steel was tough. That's a tough act to follow when you've got this grandiose movie trilogy series that has, never, no one said anything bad about any of those movies. They went on to win awards and all kind of shit. Heath Ledger passed and all that. He gave us, which is arguably one of the greatest Joker performance of all time. It's hard to jump off into that and not want to bite off of what just came before because it was successful, because Hollywood is like the restaurant business and any other industry. When you see there's a trend that's working and making a lot of money, it's like the music industry, people want to bite off that. They're going to copy and paste that shit. And so, when they started doing Man of Steel, they took notes from the previous Batman universe and tried to ground Superman in the Man of Steel, which made us believe, okay, well, that means that this universe is linked in with the previous Batman universe. And it was like, oh no, this is a totally different thing, because then Justice League comes out and Batman versus Superman comes out, and that's a totally different thing. People hated the brooding Batman. They crammed 3 major storylines into Batman versus Superman to try to catch up with Marvel, which was out of here by that point. You know what I'm saying? Marvel was gone. You weren't catching up with them. You had to do your own thing. And then, the movies that followed after that were just not good. They just weren't that great. And I see that James Gunn is following suit, and he's doing something that is, he's repeating history in a way, but he could change the course of DC history if he does it right. 11 years ago, they started out the DCEU with Superman. And I've been saying this all along. DC does not need to be Marvel. There is no anchor in Marvel, even though they did use Iron Man as the anchor because he was the first movie where they decided they wanted to do the Avengers and all that with the end scene credits and all that, I believe. But DC has the most iconic heroes in the world. The whole capes and tights thing comes from DC. All these different spinoffs and the boys and all this other shit. is based off of DC heroes. Nobody's trying to copy off of Marvel. All right, Marvel just said, "Fuck it, we gonna do our thing, and sink or swim. We gonna make this shit work," and they made it pop. DC grounding their world and universe with Superman as the anchor is what they need to do. They tried it 11 years ago, but they were coming off such a crazy successful. I mean, Batman was just on fire, that they had to try to take some tones from that. And I think they end up confusing everybody, confusing themselves. They didn't know what tone they wanted to take. They didn't know which direction they wanted to go with the writing. They didn't know how they wanted to bring all the characters in, and they just fucked it all up. James Gunn seems to be repeating that process because he's going to start off his DC universe with Superman Legacy next year, which the movie is finished. They've already got fucking early screenings, and people kind of checking it out and all that, putting up reviews about how it is. And the trailer is already leaked out somewhere. People watching that, or early previews of the trailer. And but it seems like he's gonna follow suit with that. So he's thinking, he's on the same page as the Herald in terms of the idea of using Superman as your anchor, because that's what DC is all about, man. It all revolves around Superman, man. The Boy Scout, the good guy. He's got godlike powers, but he decides to be good and use his powers to help people out instead of fuck shit up, and not anti-hero this or super fucking cringy edgelord bullshit that goes on in the other spaces of comics. Superman is the purest hero of all that. Now again, I'm not a Superman fanboy in a way, but I believe that DC needs that to reset the whole universe. The beauty of it is you're coming off of I would say you're coming off of a terrible Joker movie, which wasn't even a part of the universe at all. But something else I thought about too was we're kind of confusing the people, because he's also going to do Batman the Brave and the Bold. And this is what triggered me to do this video, actually. I thought about how much he was talking about the Batman the Brave and the Bold, and there's nothing has been written yet. But it's going to have Damian in it. And he's my favorite Robin of all time. Of all the Robins, he's my favorite Robin. And I'm like, yo, this is going to be dope. You know what I'm saying? But then I was like, hold up. We still got this Robert Pattinson Batman going, and he's doing a good job so far. The Batman movie was really good. The Penguin series just wrapped up. I don't even have to tell you how much I love that show. And they're working on the Batman 2 already, if it's not already finalized and ready to go. So this Batman universe that Matt Reeves is doing is its own thing. Remember I said in the last video that I don't understand why James Gunn and Matt Reeves, James Gunn is helping Matt Reeves write this shit. Like, he's giving him pointers, calling him and texting him in the middle of the night, like, hey man, look, I got this, I'm stuck right here with fucking Mr. Freeze, where do I go? And then James Gunn is giving him the handoff, you know what I'm saying? So I don't understand why he wouldn't just folded Matt Reeves' shit into his own, but it's not gonna be part of it. But now I'm thinking, well, damn, we got Superman coming next year. The Penguin just wrapped up. They're working on the Batman movie, which I think releases, if not next year, the year after. We're back to the same fucking confusion that we had the last go round with DC, where no one knows what fits anywhere. And I'm not saying that everything has to be in the same universe, but hear me out. If they mention Bruce Wayne in Superman Legacy next year and Batman, and that Batman is not the Bruce Wayne from the Penguin television show or the Batman movie that just that came out about a year or two ago, then it's gonna start to confuse people when The Brave and the Bold comes out. Then my question is, what's the timeline on The Brave and the Bold? Because we still got to get through Matt Reeves' Batman universe, and he hasn't even released Batman 2. And I imagine there's more villains that might come down the line. If the Penguin is successful as that show was, you can't tell me that they're not about to do either another Penguin season, or they're gonna focus on another villain like Poison Ivy or Harley or somebody like that, which I would love to see. And that's where I realize we might have a problem. So far, Matt Reeves is knocking it out the park with this Batman universe. I love everything about it. You know, it's grounded, yes, so it's be hard to kind of fit in the fantastical stuff at this point, but I love it so much. I almost don't want it to end. But I want to see James Gunn's vision, but Gunn's vision won't start till December 5th with Creature Commandos, which, by the way, he said everything that's in Creature Commandos, anything that's mentioned, anything that's talked about, any character that shows up, even if it's for half a second, that is canon, which means this is technically the show that's kicking off James Gunn's DCU vision. Are you with me? Okay. If this is the show that kicks off James Gunn's DCU vision and Matt Reeves' vision is still in play, we've got two alternate timelines going on in DC right now at the same time. I don't like it for the fact that we already had a bunch of confusion in the last decade trying to figure out what the fuck is going on with the Joker and why the hell the Batman just came out of nowhere. Where's Batfleck? And why did they just stop the DCEU? Flashpoint Paradox, is that part of James Gunn's vision? He said no. And the only part of James Gunn's vision that includes anything that's come from the past so far, based on what we've seen, is Peacemaker. That's it. And Peacemaker mentions the Justice League, but it could be an alternate, universe version of Justice League. So I don't know. All I do know is it got me thinking, and I was like, man, we might be in trouble if there are no clear defining lines between universes here. Also, we might also be in trouble, and this might not be a bad thing, if Matt Reeves' universe continues to be as successful and as good as it is, and James Gunn knocks it out the park with Superman Legacy next year. Now we've got two really great timelines, in DC might be catching up to Marvel double time. You know what I'm saying? Which is something that I don't think anybody's even really thought about for real. So it's just my thoughts, man. Just something I thought about. He just had an interview with IGN, and actually he had an interview with Collider that I saw about 2 or 3 days ago. But he just did an interview, him and Dean, with IGN, and he's echoing the same shit he's been saying for the last year. Like nothing has changed, and I love it. But basically, what I love about James Gunn's vision is he says that everything is gonna, be surrounded by the writing. Nothing's happening before good writing. If he gets a script and the writing is good and it's on point and it's sticking to its alternate universe, but it's being true to the characters, that's what he's going with. If it's trash, throw that shit out. I don't give a fuck who the actor is. I don't give a fuck who the people want to see as the actor, none of that. If the writing's not good, then it's not a greenlit. It's not gonna get greenlit. And I love that. James Gunn does seem to be passionate about what he's doing. I love that there's somebody in the driver's seat that really cares about these characters, really cares about the writing, cares about the cinematography, the tone. He also mentioned, remember I mentioned in the last video too, that I love the R-rated tone and the theme that DC always goes with, whereas Marvel just waits for Deadpool to come out to be, Marvel Jesus and then save everybody with his R-rated movies. Where DC, they're sticking to the fact that, yes, R-rated, we're no stranger to that. We're going to drop a couple of those in there every once in a while too, which I love that, you know what I'm saying? Which means there's no boundaries. And you can have box office setting R-rated movies just because it's R restricted and, you lose the kid audience. I keep telling people all the time, the kids don't make up all of the audience out here. You know what I'm saying? All of entertainment does not have to be geared toward the kids to be successful. You know what I'm saying? So I love that aspect of it too. So just some interesting thoughts, something I thought about, man. My philosophy at this point, let James cook. Just let him cook, man. Let's see what he got. And let's hope that Matt Reeves continues to have success with what he's got going on. And I'm just curious to see how this shit all, folds together down the line. You know what I'm saying? Anyway, that's all I got, man. God said I have to go. Hope you liked the video. Let me know what you think in the comment section. I'll see y'all in the next video, man. You better pull up on me. Don't do it for me. Do it for the